All right, here we go. All right. Better.
Sweet. How's it going?
Perfect. So good, bro. How are
Good.
you?
Doing well.
Good. Where you at?
I am home for a
Oh,
bit. Yeah, so
that
that's very nice.
that's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
hey, I just want to say thank you so much for getting on here with us, bro. We've been having a lot of conversations with just tons of leaders and different people. Everybody from Cody Carnes to Brandon Lake and even your friends Chase Wagner. People like that. Just people that we have a circle with, and we're trying to have conversations with, where we can just speak life into the life of our people in our community that we've built here on Instagram and Facebook, and our website and stuff like that. So thank you so much, man. I appreciate you getting on here and taking some time for us.
Man, I'm so pumped that you'd have me. Thanks for doing this with me. And
Yeah,
I hear
absolutely.
you're friends with Andrew Gard and Chase Wagner.
Yeah, they're from our church. So where
Okay.
we out here in Puyallup, Washington.
Okay.
Andrew Gard was one of our pastors. Chase was one of our worship leaders, and then they went and planted. They took off.
They're some of my favorite dudes. I love them.
Me too, bro. Every time I talk to them, I just lose my mind because they're the nicest guys in the world, and they're just cool,
Yeah,
So
they're so rad.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Chase told me a lot about your conversations and your just your songwriting, your guys' just when you're just hanging out. I'm just like, I got to talk to this dude.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out.
Awesome. Well, hey, today we're just going to talk a little bit about creativity, songwriting, your album, and then at the end, just to see where you're going and what's going on in your life and what you're going to be doing next. We
Yeah.
would love to hear about that kind of stuff. But just real quick, if you could, bro, just tell us about who you are and what you do, because there's going to be some people who get on here who don't know who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Mack. I'm a worship leader out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I've lived here for about 12 years now. Me and my wife moved to Charlotte to be a part early on at Elevation Church, kind of help just with the worship ministry with that church and help kind of build just kind of the worship culture in there and just be a part of that. And so I worked at the church for 10 years.
Wow.
So yeah, for a long time, it was awesome. It was amazing. And about 2 years ago, felt like the Lord was calling us into a new season. Felt like he asked us to step into something unknown. And so we've kind of been doing that. And the last 2 years have just kind of been like that story of walking close with God and walking, I don't know, just one step at a time, one day at a time, wherever he's kind of like leading us. It's been really an amazing season for us.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, it
Yeah.
seems like it's been going good. You just got off a tour. You were with Hillsong United, just
Yep.
traveling. I don't know, you guys travel the world, or was it United States?
Just the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, it started in like late April and we just wrapped up at the beginning of July.
Yeah.
But it was amazing. I mean, it was all over the place. It was chaotic schedule, but it was really, really powerful, really like such a special thing to be a part of.
Wow. Yeah, that's humongous, bro. I mean, being able to travel like that and be with some guys who have been doing this for a really long time, I'm sure it was a learning curve for you, right?
Oh, total. I mean, Hillsong has like been one of my biggest just inspirations and people that I've like looked up to since I started leading worship. And so
Yeah.
just to kind of be around them and to be a part of what they, not just like what they do every night, but just like the culture that they create and the way that they are and the way that they treat people and love people. It was just, I don't know, it was just a really unique experience for me. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing, bro. Well, let's talk about just you. I want to know, like, how did you discover your gifts and where did you where did you learn how to worship?
Yeah. So my dad's a pastor. I grew up in a Southern Baptist church in South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so I kind of grew up, when I was a student, started playing music and playing in bands. I would play in the youth band at church and all that stuff. And ultimately, for the longest time, I really didn't want to do worship. I don't know. I thought church music was like too cheesy or something, or like kind of lame. Like for real, like my heart was just like just not in a great spot when it came to like worship, and was just kind of, I don't know, I guess like a cocky kid, arrogant kid. wanted to just do like, my music and all that stuff. And thankfully the Lord had a lot of patience with me. He kept giving me opportunities to like lead worship, even though maybe, I don't know, I had like a bad attitude about it, like in my spirit, I would always like do it and not begrudgingly or anything, but the Lord knew my heart, and he knew that my heart wasn't like great.
Yeah.
and he still gave me the opportunity to do it. He still like had a lot of patience with me to grow in that. And then I don't know, as I got older, it just became, I realized what worship actually like was. And I realized that worship isn't like a style. It's not like a music style. It's not a genre, but just started to understand like just the depths of like, this is what it means to worship, and this is the power that it has. And so when I started having those revelations, just as, a young, like, I guess an adult, early 20s, that's when God like really, I don't know, just had revealed himself to me in a new way, to where like now like worship is like the favorite thing I do in my life, like,
Yeah.
and it's such a gift to me. And so I'm grateful that I just get to be a part of it, and that I get to go and lead worship. And that's like my job. Is such a, I don't know, a blessing, I guess.
It's huge, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, I could say for a lot of worship leaders, that's the dream. That's what they want to do, with their
Yeah.
lives. And most people won't ever get the chance to be a worship pastor or to travel the world and do
Right.
what you get to do, so,
Right. So
very
grateful.
blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Very
grateful, man.
grateful.
Yeah. I did see a question that someone asked, and it kind of lines up what I was going to say next, but let's just talk about your creativity, your process. Someone said, what does it look like when you write a song? I was going to say, what does your creative process look like? Because it can be so much more than writing songs.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the process for me does start with the song. It starts with a lyric idea or a melody hook or something that builds off of, just like a little seed. And I write with a lot of people.
That's good.
I rarely sit down and like write by myself. Every time I do, I feel like I get depressed, because
Yeah, I love that.
I don't like anything that I'm doing by myself. But then when I get in a room with people that I like, that I trust their instincts and stuff, you start feeding off of each other. And so a song will usually start like coming into a writing room with, another person or two other people, and just start spitballing like, hey, here's this like really weak idea. I don't know if it's going to be anything. This is just something, and let's like live with it for a minute.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like literally, like I've been in writing rooms where we just play a progression for 45 minutes, and we just kind of like are worshiping in the moment, and we're recording the whole time and see if anything like pops out. Sometimes it's like, hey, I've got like this chorus already, ready to go. Let's dive into like verses or whatever it might be. And then from there, it's actually getting in a studio or getting with some musicians and start building around that foundation. And so the song, obviously, especially I think with worship music, the foundation has to be so simple and solid, like at its core, in terms of like, if you want it to be something that people can grab hold of quickly, in a church service or just like in their own time, like to worship God, there's got to be that like kind of base level. And then from there, you can start kind of figuring out, what does this song need, or like, how can we support this song? How can we lift this song up in the best way? And sometimes it's, the dynamics of the drums, or sometimes it's going to be certain guitar hooks or piano hook or whatever it might be. And it's just kind of navigating those waters and trying to figure out, what does this song need to be elevated? And it's all about kind of supporting the song. When I was first writing and working on projects, I would always shoot for like, well, what's going to make this song cool? Or what's going to be like something dope musically that like I think is awesome. And I would go down those rabbit trails, and it would always make like the song like weaker when that was like my mentality, And so just after doing it for so many years and so many songs, I've learned the hard way and the long way that you really do have to like come under, and like the goal of production of the song is just a support. It's just like I don't know. It's just to make the song better, not
Yeah.
to not to make the song cooler or
Oh,
I don't know, your personal preference or whatever it might be.
so true, bro. Yeah, you said something that really stuck out to me the most, and it was that you always sit in a room with other people. You hate
Yeah,
sitting by yourself to write because you end up getting depressed and not
right.
liking what you're writing because you're like,
And
what am I doing?
yeah, and that's not for everybody. I got a lot of friends that they are amazing writers like by themselves. I just know
Yeah,
for me, like anytime I do it, I always sit down by myself to write and I'll hash out ideas and stuff. But if I try to take a song from start to finish just by myself without the input of like other people that I trust, I usually come away, I don't know, just second guessing everything and it puts me
yeah.
in a weird gnarly headspace that I don't know. I'm just like rarely happy with it.
No, that's good. I think collaboration is probably one of the most important things that we should do as creatives, as worship pastors, as
Yeah,
leaders. And so many times we tend not to because we want to be the guy who gets the glory. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Instead of it being about God, we think, oh, if I write the next song or if I do the next big
It's like
thing, it's going to be
a
amazing.
pride thing
Yeah,
can sneak in for sure.
yeah. So that's huge. I think that's super important to understand for our people, especially our creators that are in our community. But yeah, let me ask you this. How do you stay healthy, just spiritually, mentally, physically, when you're traveling, when you're riding, when you have a house, you have a wife, you have kids, you have all this stuff going on? How do you stay healthy?
Um, I mean, one, like, there are definitely seasons where I'm not doing, I'm not. I feel like I am like in a healthy spot now and have been in one for like a while. But man, like I've had so many seasons where I've like realized after the fact, like, man, I'm like not in a good space and I need to make some like adjustments for myself before I get
Yeah,
even worse, And I mean, a couple of things, I guess, just like quick, like tangible things. Like one is like I can gauge the health of like myself when I look at my relationship like with my family and with my wife and with my kids. That's just like a good thermostat or thermometer. I don't know which one it is, but it's a good measure to like how I'm doing. And if I'm in a good place with them and I don't know, having like good, healthy conversations with my wife and we're on the same page, then that usually is a reflection of like my own spirit. And if I'm not, I usually have to like look inward and say like, what's going on with me that's making this more difficult than it should be, or you know
wow.
what I'm saying? And so
Yeah,
I do get a lot of like family time. Me and my wife are like hyper intentional about making sure we're doing stuff with our family. And we've never been the couple that could be like every Thursday night is our date night, no matter what.
yeah,
That's no question, like
yeah,
no leeway or anything. Like our schedule doesn't allow that. But even still, like we're always looking at our calendar and we're looking at like our
yeah,
calendar like 1 month, 2 months in advance, being like, all right, what are the days that me and you can get away? What are the days that we can do something that's like a memory maker for our kids?
yeah,
What are the days, and we're just kind of constantly on top of our calendar, which kind of removes some of the I don't know, it can remove like some of the spontaneity. But
yeah,
I've realized for me that I have to be that way. I have to be like very on point with like my days and know like what I'm doing.
yeah,
Um, and then obviously like the other thing about like health is just like is my relationship with Jesus and making sure that that's like I feel like that's like a little bit of like the
yeah,
given, but it's something that can't be like I guess overstated is just being I don't know, having like a good relationship with him and being in the word and kind of constantly like learning and constantly like investing in myself, the spiritual growth that I need.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I don't know, those all kind of like play into it a bit.
Yeah, no, that's huge, man. You got to be intentional. I think the easy thing to say is be intentional. Be
Yeah, but
thinking through it.
and just one other thing, just I don't know who's listening or who's like on this, if it's like worship leaders and people that are on staff at a church,
Yeah,
is just know like I had so many moments, or maybe not even so many moments. I had like two key moments that come to my mind where I knew that I was like close to burnout, and I was like, I was about to like crash and burn because I like had so much on my plate or so much like going on.
Yeah.
And I realized that I had to be responsible for being the gauge of like my health.
So
I
true.
couldn't rely on, on my supervisor or whatever to constantly come into me and say, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you okay?" Like I had to realize, no, I have to go to them and be like, "Hey, here's where I'm at. I'm not in a good spot."
Yeah.
But then I'm the one that also brought solutions. So I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, I'm carrying too much. So I need you to take stuff off my plate." I never did that. Instead, I would be like, "Hey, I'm carrying too much. Here's my plan for bringing some other leaders alongside of me that I can start handing stuff off to, or I can kind of invest in them and let them kind of take this area over, whatever it might be." And that was just like a way, like when I was on staff at a church, that kept me at a healthy spot. Because
Yeah.
I came close, because once you hit that burnout moment, like
Yeah.
where you are burned out, it's really hard to come back on the other side. But
Oh, for sure.
if you can catch it before you crash into the wall, you can rebuild a lot of stuff, and you can
Yeah.
kind of get back on the path in a healthy way. So,
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to looking at people or looking at things, where do you look? Who do you look at to just be inspired in your life?
to be inspired, musically, I'm on Spotify a lot. So like I'm just like constantly listening. I'm a guy that I like all sorts of music, like
Yeah.
the gamut of it. So I listen to a lot of Spotify playlists. I've
Yeah.
realized the older I've gotten, I get less and less focused on artists where I'm like super obsessed with artists, and more focused on like songs where
Yeah.
I'll get obsessed with certain songs and I'll listen to them 50 times in a row just on
That's so
repeat.
good.
So I do that a lot. And then from a spiritual inspiration, there are like a lot of devotions or books that I'll go back to a lot, and I'll just
Yeah.
kind of hit chapters or hit little, certain pages. Like even like right now, like Jesus Calling is a devotion that's been around for forever. I
Yeah.
still go through that constantly, like just to, I don't know, kind of get fed, but also like the way that book is written is so, it just inspires me in a way, or like Ragamuffin Gospel, like stuff like that. I'll go back to those sources a lot just to get fed in a way that like almost feeds my brain too, feeds my mind, and what, I don't know, like what the Lord like wants to deposit in me.
No, that's good, bro. I love the Spotify thing, just listening to whatever you can find, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not obsessed with a artist, but you'll listen to anything. That's cool.
yeah, yeah.
That's really cool. I know that some of my guys around here would want to know, but what kind of gear are you using right now when it comes to guitar, pedals,
Yeah.
everything?
So on the Hillsong tour, I just brought in this like really little pedal board, and all I had on it um, was a tuner, which is the most important pedal any of you
Yeah.
guys could ever get. Uh, and then I had the AC booster. Yeah, that's it, man.
First pedal ever bought.
That's the number one pedal for all you gearheads. I had the AC booster, and then just like an R5, and then the timeline,
Yeah.
and I ran it through a Kemper. It
Oh
was
wow.
like a real scrappy setup, but it was kind of, being the opener, we had to be able to get on and off stage like really quick. So we tried to make everything that we could do
Yeah.
super easy,
Yeah.
And for me, I played electric that whole tour and felt like it got everything that I needed. I'm not somebody that's stomping pedals a ton during songs. It might be like one or twice. It's not like every verse or chorus or anything like that for me. So yeah, so that was kind of what I used.
And what guitar are you using right now?
On that tour, I have a Elliott 357,
Okay.
and a Gretsch Duojet. So I use kind of both of those like flip flop. Yeah,
Yeah. I love the Duo
I
Jet,
love
bro.
it.
That's one of my favorite
Me
guitars
too.
ever. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
guitar.
I got that guitar. I
Ah,
got that guitar right before that tour, and I fell in love with it. It's amazing.
oh yeah. Yeah, you ever played a Duesenberg?
I've got a lot of friends that have them, but I've never played one. I don't know if I could
Oh,
pull off the
bro.
glitter.
It's
Every
pretty dope.
Duesenberg I
No,
have
it's
has the
yeah,
glitter.
no, it's cool. I think you could do it though. I think you can rock it.
Yeah.
So you just released Greater Things, the whole entire thing. All of your
Yep.
songs are out, which
Yep.
they're absolutely amazing, and I have it
Thank
on
you.
repeat, literally.
Thank you.
But what's next, man? Like, what's in the works for Mack Brock right now?
Yeah, I mean, it was it's been a busy year so far, and I'm kind of, I've been home like the last couple of weeks, uh, just doing a lot of family time, like after that tour. And
Yeah,
now I'm kind of, I'm traveling more. I'm kind of the rest of the year is a lot of conferences and churches, and I'm doing like a small tour with Phil Wickham and Kim Walker Smith that I'm
yeah,
stoked about in November. And so I'm still kind of staying busy, just leading worship and traveling. And
yeah,
then I'll probably get in the studio again, maybe like at the first of the year or something like that, and kind of dive back in with some new music. We don't have like that's been the weirdest part about this whole season, like this new season, the last 2 years, is it really has been walking one step at a time.
yeah,
And we haven't ever had like, all right, this is our 10-year plan, 5-year plan, 2-year plan. Like it's been a little bit chaotic or organic of being
yeah,
like, all right, this is where I'm walking. Let's do this. Let's focus on like, I've been writing these songs. Let's just get in the studio and record them. We just
yeah,
get those songs out and try that and see what's connecting or what kind of sparks inspiration for me. And kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit that same way walking into this next season where I don't really know, all right, these are the themes that I'm working with. This is, I don't know what it's all going to look like,
yeah,
but I've got I just got good people in my life, and walking with them and seeing like what's next. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
yeah. That's wild. So like it's fun to see because everybody would think that you have like this 10-year plan, all that kind of stuff. But it's funny just to see that we're all just taking it one
Well,
day at a time, one step at a
yeah,
time.
and that's been honestly like a hard part for me and Meredith is
Yeah,
like we're both type A, like game plan. These are our goals, and not to say that we don't have goals anymore. It's just we've learned that like our goals are kind of on this like shifting plane that we don't know like where it's all going to fall into place or when it's going to fall into place.
yeah,
And that's been like a source of stress and anxiety for me
yeah, for
because I
sure.
like to plan. But I was telling Meredith just recently, we were kind of like we're just processing and dreaming, and I just think the Lord has me in a place where He knows how much I like comfort. He
Yeah,
knows I like to have my plan and my goal or whatever it might be, and then I'm in a comfortable place to like get to those.
yeah,
And I think that He's just pushing us in a way that I don't know. He's removing that comfort from our lives. He's
wow,
removing that like kind of safety net from our lives, and
yeah,
it does cause like more stress, or it causes more of like this like mental battle and this mental war that I'm having, where I want to be prepped or I want all this stuff. And I've had to let go of a lot of that, but it's been so good for us. And God has never I don't know, He keeps showing up. So he
yeah,
keeps like he keeps meeting us wherever we're at. He hasn't given us any reason to doubt what He's doing for our family and where He's got us. So I
yeah,
just kind of have to trust on that more than anything. I trust in that more than I trust in like my plan and my like these are my goals.
yeah.
So
So true, bro.
it's been hard, but it's been good.
Yeah, his timing, his way, his will is so much better than ours ever could be,
Right. Right.
and that's the thing. Like for us, I'm trying to make sure that our creatives who follow this and are in this community that we have right here, I'm trying to help them understand that it doesn't matter if you're Mack Brock, if you're lead of Hillsong Unite, like it doesn't matter
Right.
what position you're, or if you're a worship pastor at your church of 100 people. You have to think of it as this is what you are called to do, and
Right.
do it to your best ability, and allow
Right.
God to just lead you in such a way where you can just lead well,
Yeah.
and we got to stop looking over the fence to see what's on the other side of the yard, and
Yeah. Where am
we
I
got to
going
take
next?
care. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
totally.
got to take care of right where we're at and just be the best who we are, and just become make it your big time. If you're a
Right.
worship pastor at a church of 100 people, make that your big time. That should
Right.
be the
Totally.
best thing that's ever happened to you, and own it.
And
So,
and and just to speak to that too is like that's not even to say like having goals or having ambition. That's
Yeah,
like all like
that's
positive
great.
stuff, you know, and I'm the same way, and my wife's the same way. But I just had to learn that my goals or ambition can never supersede like what the Lord has for me, or just
Yeah,
even like what the Lord desires for me. And I've had to learn to walk in that way more than I walk in my own strength of like
yeah,
this is what I want, or this is my desire. And
for
so
sure.
yeah, it's a challenge, but man, it's so worth it. And going back to the health question, like when I've done that, and the fact that me and my wife have walked in that together, that has made our marriage healthier. That's made our kids, my relationship with my kids, it's such a healthy place. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, I don't know, we're very present in the moment. We're very focused on like the now, and we're kind of like dependent on the Lord together. Like we don't,
Yeah.
we don't have this whatever. I don't even know how to say it, but we're just like we're all walking with the Lord together, and the fact that we're having to kind of like stay together and walk together has made us closer and made us healthier.
So true. That's good, man. You got to have people in your life, including if you're married, make sure you're with your wife, you're on the same page.
Yep.
And then when you're walking in life, it's so important for us to have people that we can surround ourselves with
Yep.
all around. You know, you have
Yep.
your inner circle, but you need to have people that you can call. I have friends all over the country that I call and just say, "Hey, how's it going? Speak to me, talk to
Yeah.
me, tell me what's
Yeah.
going on." And that
Yeah.
kind of stuff just keeps me alive, keeps me like remembering that my little world is so much bigger than what it really is, you know.
Yeah. So
And
important.
yeah, community, bro. That's why we do this. That's why we're doing
Yep.
this community right here.
I love it.
And we have guys like you get on here. Can you do me a favor?
Yep.
Can I have you just pray over our community that they would just be blessed, that they'll stay encouraged, and they'll never give up on what God has for their lives?
So who, just before I do that, like,
Yeah,
are most of the people that are a part of this, are they like worship pastors, or are they?
it's all around. So everything creative. So everything from I have painters, I have
Gotcha.
artists, I have graphic designers, I have worship pastors, creative pastors. It's kind of just the creative world.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's pray.
of course.
All right, Father God, I am grateful for Julian. I'm grateful for the ministry that you've called him to. I'm
Yep.
grateful that you have uh, given him a vision that not only like formed in his heart, but he's actually tangibly stepped out to create, and that he moved when you told him to move. And so I
Yes,
pray
Lord.
that everybody that's just kind of under the umbrella of this ministry, Lord, would just be, I don't know, would have a touch and a vision from you, Lord, in all
Yes, Lord.
things creative, whether it's worship, whether it's relational, whether it's art project. I don't know. There's so many different avenues, but I just pray that you're the visionary behind it all, and that
Yeah.
you would give them the every single resource that they need. You would give them every voice, every relationship, every tool to see that come into fruition. And above
Yes, Lord.
all else, Lord, I just pray that through the process, they would just walk with you, and
Yeah.
that that's the goal, is for us to just be very close to you, and for you to just kind of shine through us. And so I just pray that that stays like the main thing, stays the main thing, and that, I don't know, you just encourage people, bless them. I know what it's like to be anxious about what I'm
Yeah.
doing, to be like, I don't know if this is good or not. I don't know if what I'm doing is the right path or not, or I know all those emotions. And so I just pray for like a peace over everybody that's stepping out into something, that's
Yes, Lord.
doing something creative, that's songwriting, that's leading people, that you would just bless them with just like a peace, that they
Yeah.
would know that if they're close to you, that you'll lead their way, and that they can just fall back on that and trust that. And we're just grateful for what you do. We're grateful for creativity. We're grateful that you're a creative God that has given us
Yeah.
tools to do stuff that like gives us chill bumps, and to do stuff that stimulates us creatively, and in our emotions, and just all
Yes,
the
Lord.
stuff that's like so powerful about music, or powerful about art, Lord. We're just
Yes,
grateful
Lord.
that that's even a resource that we have. And so we just, I don't know, we want to walk with you. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Hey, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, this is
Hey,
awesome.
one last question. Are you a coffee drinker?
My wife is. I'm unfortunately I'm more of like an energy drink drinker. I'm kind of
Okay.
embarrassed to say that.
No, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. But what's your drink of choice then?
I mean, I like Red Bull.
Yeah, it's the only way to go.
Yeah, it's bad.
It gives you wings, man. You got to get going.
It gives you something, yeah. So
That's amazing. Well, tell your wife that someday when you guys are in Seattle, I'm going to buy you guys some coffee. I'm going to buy you a Red Bull for
all
a
right, I'm
coffee,
down.
and we're going to
I'm
hang
down.
out, all right?
All right, brother.
All right, bro. Thank you
Cool.
so much.
Thank you.
We'll talk
See ya.
again.